All right, let's talk about the Tennessee Titans. You might be wondering, what is this video? What am I doing here? Well, I couldn't figure out exactly how I wanted to address this topic, so I figured let's just do kind of a general thoughts video about it. But like, could the Titans be good this year? That is the question. Because, I was kind of thinking about their offseason. I'm like, this is a weird offseason. They've let some veterans go. They've added some other veterans in certain places. But the more I was thinking about it, the more I was kind of like, well, I am someone who personally believes that you want to build through the outside. You want to make sure or at least games are won on the outside, I should say. Having good corners and good receivers, those are the teams that are, winning Super Bowls typically. Sure, the Chiefs were maybe an exception, but they still had Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. That's not exactly bad. And they had debatably the best coverage unit in football and Mahomes. So again, usually you need 2 out of 3, quarterback, coverage, receiver. Seems like they're really making an effort to improve 2 out of those 3. Not quarterback, at least not yet, but to improve receiver and and coverage. And so I kind of wanted to make a video going through kind of their decisions, their off season, what they've done to improve, and what that could maybe mean for, if not this next upcoming season, the near future at the very least. First, we can look at what they lost, and to be honest, I don't think that this is a devastating situation. Now, I do have to wonder with the Derrick Henry thing, why didn't they trade Derrick Henry last offseason, or last trade deadline? I mean, that's kind of my one question, but again, they lost some pieces, but I'm not looking at this like, oh, they're going to be in a really rough spot next year. I think they had some real holes in their roster going into 2024. I think they've done a pretty good job to fix them, specifically in key positional categories. If we look at their, wide receivers at this point, so again, Hopkins was good for them last year. I don't know how healthy he's going to be this next season and how good he'll be this next season. That's a fair question, but at his best, he still looks like a wide receiver 1. And the addition of Calvin Ridley, who I think probably at this point we should view him as a really good number 2, is maybe the better way to phrase it, as opposed to, he has had that one great season in Atlanta, but that was his only real great season in Atlanta. Actually, the second most yards he's had in a season was last year. So, I don't know. Feels like he still could be a good 1,000-yard guy. And while maybe it's a bit of money, again, you're trying to build up the receiving core. You're pumping resources to a very important position. Nick Westbrook-Ikini and Treylon Burks, the question is, can any of them really step up? They're young players who have shown flashes. You just want to see a bit more consistency. You also have, tight end Okonkwo, who, might be a bigger name if people could pronounce his name. That's kind of one of the biggest things in his, one of the biggest issues there. Of course, Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears probably won't help that much in the passing game, but are still, options potentially. So, again, you're trying to build a receiving core. I don't know if this is going to make it an elite receiving core, but you're at least getting significantly better, and maybe if you can add another guy, it could be that elite receiving core that you're trying to accomplish here. As for the offensive line, people talk about the offensive line as if it's a bunch of, just disasters out there, and part of that is because at times it has been, but I think that, again, while I would say there still is room for upgrades, I think they have improved here. So this is the projected starting 5 from left to right. Nicholas Petit-Frere, who was a 3rd-round selection, who, quite frankly, I would like an upgrade personally on. But then you have some solid pieces here. Peter Skoronski, who they drafted, who looked good once he went to guard. Lloyd Cushenberry, who they added, who also, I think, at the center position is a solid center. Daniel Brunskill, another guy who I think, can definitely play guard at a solid level. Those are 3 solid players right there. Dylan Radoon's another guy who I probably would like an upgrade, but he did finally last year, when he played in his over 700 snaps, look solid out there. So maybe he just needs more playing time to kind of get in the groove of things. Maybe he just needed to work out some kinks in his game. But I would like an upgrade, I think, from Radoon's, but he's not the worst. If he's your 5th worst option, if he's your 5th best player on the offensive line, you're okay. They just need to improve the left tackle, which they certainly could do, whether that's in the draft because they have a good draft pick, or maybe there's still a veteran they can add. And also going over to the secondary, I mean, they already had Roger McCreary, who I like, but now adding L'Jarius Sneed and Chidobe Awuzie, which no one talked about, now have 3 really good corners, and that's such a position about depth that this feels good to me. The safeties, Amani Hooker and Elijah Molden, remains to be seen, perhaps. Maybe there's some potential weaknesses to exploit with Molden. I don't know. I did like him coming out of college, but I don't know if he's lived up to that, the third-round pick potential quite yet. And again, I think that the defensive line, Jeffrey Simmons should be able to, handle a lot of the pressure up front, right? And you do have Arden Key and Harold Landry still there, who are quality players. Like, there's definitely ways to get pressure, especially if you can get enough coverage to give the, edge rushers time to get to the quarterback, right? Could maybe use a linebacker as well. Like, listen, this is not a fully complete team, but they are making really interesting moves to, I think, try to be competitive this next upcoming season. If we look at their Pro Football Focus grades from where they ranked last season, there's definitely some room for improvement, but in some areas, I think they might have actually been better than people realized. Passing 22nd, they need not Malik Willis. Well, maybe Malik Willis, but really they need Will Levis to step it up next season. I think that's kind of the main thing. He showed flashes, but if he can be a top 15 quarterback, which would be a jump, it would, but if he can do that, I think the pass blocking should be better. It was 24th, and the run blocking was 18th, so that's kind of where I think they were maybe a little better than people realized. Receiving should be better. It was 18th. Could that get up to top 10 potentially with Ridley? Maybe. Running game should be worse, but is it going to be that much worse? They do have still two good running backs there. It's not going to be Derrick Henry, but, they'll throw the ball more as well, so that could help out the running game, not have to run through so many tight windows and things like that. Defense did not grade very well, according to PFF last year, with the 24th rated run defense, 22nd pass rush, and 26th coverage. But again, you help out that coverage a lot. That could help out the other stuff as well. And just getting guys healthy, all that good stuff. They're interesting. Do I think they're going to be good next year? I don't know. Probably not, right? I think there's still some question marks and too many question marks. But I do think that it's possible they could be surprisingly better than people are realizing. They're kind of a team no one's really talking about. But, again, if this is a team with a good, let's say, the 12th best defense, if I keep saying Malik Willis for some reason, if Will Levis steps up and is a good quarterback, they have a top 10 receiving core, why couldn't that be a playoff team? So, while a lot of people are kind of questioned, well, what's the goal of the Titans? I think that's their goal. I think they're trying to be competitive, and I think that it isn't the craziest thing I've ever seen, to be honest. I think there's actually some good moves here that people really aren't paying attention to. So I don't know what's going to happen, but just an interesting thing. Wanted to make a video. I don't know how well this video will do, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.